AC Sports Live is brought to you by All In CDO Training, the future of commercial driving. Earn your Class A and Class B license and endorsements with courses online and in person in the city of Long Beach. Call or visit the website 909-708-4861, www.allincdotraining.com. If you're unemployed, underemployed, or just want to change a career, scholarships are available, so don't worry about the cost. Give them a call. All In CDO Training, the future of commercial driving. AC Sports Live is also brought to you by Mood Swing Apparel, DEM Clothing. Dominate every matchup, period. Check them out, Mood Swing Apparel on Instagram. AC Sports Live is also brought to you by Cannon Nation Boxing. If you want to learn the sweet science of boxing, or if you just want to get a real good workout in, working out and training with pros, check out CannonNationBoxing.com and become the best version of yourself today.
He ain't never slumber, never put him to the test. He be reigning king forever, resurrected after death. All praise to God, brother, say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, all praise to the one.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We in the building. It is the 25th day of June. Time stops for no one. So if you waiting for something to happen, it ain't gonna happen. You better go get it, man. I'm AC Sports Live. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with your boy. Full show. The Olympic trials has been on my mind because that's what my wife and I love to watch, track and field. And it has not disappointed thus far. It's been exciting. Even the mile has been exciting. Anything over a mile, yeah, go grab me a snack and come back when it's the 15th lap or something like that. But yeah, enough storylines. Speaking of track and field, my mentor, my father figure, Coach Don Norford. So Don Norford and Carol Norford, track and field, storyline, track itself at my alma mater, Long Beach Poly, will be named after our beloved coach, Papa Don Norford. Much deserved. Shout out to all those who made it happen, all the petitions, all those in local government. I think it's a well-deserved token of appreciation, of excellence, of 18 state championships, 20-something CIF championships, world renowned. I was in Germany one time and I had my Long Beach Poly track and field sweatshirt on, and somebody recognized Long Beach Poly track. It's nothing like it. Pin relays. Bill Cosby was impressed when the Jackrabbits boys and girls took down the Jamaicans in the 4x100 and 4x400. Shout out to Coach Crystal Irving and all her staff who kept the tradition going, winning this year's boys state championship in California. She is keeping it the same way Don left it. Just impressive, competitive, always in the hunt. And we always said it only takes 30 points to win state. And if you got a couple of stellar athletes, a couple of jumpers, you have an opportunity. Rubio's in the building. It's showtime. If you did not get a chance to watch the Rubio Method, there's a live one on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Check them out. There was also an episode of Decades. I was unable to be on there. It is a tough time for me because I have a lot more church obligations now that I'm an associate pastor. So I have to make sure I'm spreading my time out evenly so I can still do my show. But when I get a chance, I'm gonna hop back on the Decade show I love those guys. All kinds of crazy opinions, but it's healthy when you hear perspectives from different walks of life. And we definitely come from different walks of life. I call underwear draws. Rubio calls underwear chonies. And we'll talk about that a lot later when things get a lot lighter. So it's not cringe. The queen, Elaine, is in here from Waco, Texas. Waco, Texas, the home of the Baylor Bears. And the queen is enjoying her time speaking the word and retired, just sitting at the basketball gym watching the hoopers hoop, watching the fruits of her labor as a hooper back in the day. I'm not going to date her age, but she played when it was a different time. But nonetheless, she said sick 'em. All right, man, the Olympic trials. First and foremost, man, shout out to Quincy Wilson, the youngster, 16 years old. 16, running against 32-year-olds. Imagine the intimidation, man. You're a 16-year-old kid and you're running the 400. That's a man's race. He ran a 44.59 versus a grown man group. This kid, and his form is disgusting. Hands flailing, face all in the sky. Wait till he gets some technique. This kid will run 43. I was talking to my wife when we were watching him run. I said, man, he's wild. But I believe his coaches are like, he's young. He's like a Bronco. When John Daly got Dennis Rodman, they were going to try to change his style, but he says, no, you don't mess with that. He's still a pup. You let him run. And I think that's what's happening with Quincy Wilson. He's just a stallion, untrained, Bronco that's no saddle, nothing, but he can just flat out go. When the next level hits and his form is straightened out and he's now using his arms to his advantage and not as something he's just carrying, and he's using his chin in the front of his forehead to cut the wind. He's not catching all that wind with the bottom of his neck and his face. It might sound small, but technique is what gets you to the next level, because your God-given ability is there. He's just running and he has an incredible kick. But I was just like, what are they teaching that kid? And I'm like, okay, this is why he's the best 16-year-old ever. They just let him be natural for now. But at some point, his technique will help him tremendously. The queen says she's loving life, as you should. You earned it. She said Quincy did it. He should be on the team as an alternate for the 4x400 meters. So he's going to be the story. Very likable young kid. Bullis High School represent. Sha'Carri Richardson gets to go to the Olympics this time around. Of course, we know last time she didn't get a chance to go. Some unfortunate circumstances. But this time she's punched her ticket. The fastest woman in the world currently. So she will be able to fulfill a dream and bring home gold in the 100. Now the 200, I believe those prelims will be tomorrow or Friday. It's hard to keep up because I got Peacock going, I got NBC going, and I'm trying to keep up what's current. So I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Today I thought they'll be running again, but today I think they were just doing gymnastics and some swimming or something like that. So trying to keep up. It's hard, but I made sure I saw Sha'Carri. A thing moved. I was so heartbroken for her because she's the champion, the reigning champion, and she suffered a fall. And you want to blame someone when this happens, but My wife and I watched it again and again, and she took her eyes off the focal point. When you're boxed in the 800, and my good buddy Brian Woodward, who ran the 800 at Georgetown and was an Olympian himself, Long Beach Poly alumni, he's a big guy, about 6'3" and 200 pounds. So he's a big 800-meter runner. And he's like, getting boxed in is still dangerous because you're longer than most runners. And you can trip very easily, as we saw a thing move. Took her eye off the lady in front of her and the lady to the left of her. And right behind her, she got tripped up by Rogers. I don't think anything was intentional. I just thought it was very interesting that the poster child for the event, which is a thing move, is no longer able to run. And she appealed today. It was unsuccessful. So she will not be in the Olympics in the 800. It's very unfortunate, but that's why it's the trials. You have to win 3 races or be in the top 3 for 3 races. And she was primed to be that. She was in a good position, but she got caught up when she took her eye. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, watch it. AC2 in the building. What up, son? I got TJ Senior in here. It was so unfortunate, TJ, man. I mean, it's really tough because you figure, how often are the Olympics? Every 4 years. But they are talking about creating a track and field league, which will give all the athletes more opportunities to run, not waiting till world championships, not waiting till the Olympics, not to burn themselves out, but to give them more opportunities to compete and make money. We saw the one hurdler who said he works at Walmart as a deli worker. He works in the meat department at Walmart, and he runs the hurdles with the opportunity to make it to the Olympics. So very interesting stuff. Noah Lyles punched his ticket as we all expected he would. Again, this is not the end all be all. This is simply the trials. So we had Noah Lyles going against, Coleman didn't make it, but I believe he'll make the 4x100. Curley made it. And then I don't have his name written down, but there's a third guy who finally made it for the first time. It should be a pretty stout 4x100 meter relay team, and the top 3 sprinters will be in the hunt. What caught my attention, my good buddy Snoop Dogg is he's commentating the trials, which I thought was kind of ironic because we know Snoop is an avid 420. And the situation that kept Sha'Carri out of the Olympics in 2020, you bringing in Snoop. Sha'Carri, stay away from Snoop's room. Do not even go on the same floor as Snoop. No races. Nobody running in any of the Olympic events needs to be near Snoop's room, because we know how Snoop gets down. Snoop's hilarious. Snoop described the pole vault very, very, strategically. Of course, he didn't try it. Thank God. He would have killed himself. But he did do the 200. And his 200 was nothing to call home about. Snoop ran a 34.4 in a 200. You got to run 35. These guys are running 44 in a 400. Snoop ran a 200 in 34 seconds. That's equivalent to like a 6 flat 40. Snoop, if you want to get that time down, brother, you got to get off the weed. My man ran a grandpa time. It should be at least 29. 35 is ridiculous. How come track athletes can't get better sponsorships? Why do sports companies not support them more? Great question. It's marketability, notoriety. You have your mega stars, and You have your run of the mill. Look at all the different heats. And if there's 4 heats for a race and the top 3 advance to the semi, it's a lot of athletes in every single event. You have your mega marketable Simone Biles, Sha'Carri Richardson, Anna Hall, Sydney McLaughlin Lavorni, who just got married, so I don't know her second last name just yet. But great story on how her and her husband met on, I believe she said Instagram, but they both began a Bible study together, and they were learning the word together, which eventually leads to marriage. And, you know, it's a good story. So she's marketable in that regard, good, clean, wholesome, you know, homegrown. And now she's going from the hurdles to the open 400. Sponsorships are coming flying in. Now, if you're a no name and you're trying to build a name, Gabby Thomas, who has gained notoriety recently, and you know how she's been, you know, the humble one, but she's the tall one. She's, you know, she's beautiful, and she's, you know, got the family support. She's a lot more marketable now. Her name is a lot more. It's hit and miss, man. You figure the swimmers, it's hard to see who they are because they're always wearing a cap and goggles. You have the other events nobody even gets a chance to watch, because the Olympics are probably the hardest event to watch because there's so much going on at the same time. And it's hard to become a personality. It's a lot going on. But great question, Rubes. Some people are marketable, some people aren't. Personality-wise, a lot of super athletes are shy. Don't like the camera, don't like the microphone. So that too is part of being marketable. That 16-year-old kid is the truth. Absolutely. Quincy Wilson. Snoop is something else. Again, look at that's what Rubio's asking, why some aren't sponsored, some aren't. Snoop is endorsed by Corona beer, and Snoop don't even drink alcohol. But Snoop is the name. So put Snoop on a beach with a couple of Coronas, and all of a sudden everybody wants to drink Corona. Personality, popularity, branding, all that stuff. Mac is in here. Mac is a double whammy because he was a football player and a track athlete. So I know he's enjoying the Olympic track trials, track and field trials. Seeing some people who should make it not make it is part of the drama that goes into it, because you have to perform. Remember Dan and Dave back in the early 90s, 90 was it 92 Olympics, when Dan and Dave were the two guys supposed to do the decathlon and go 1 and 2, and then Dan couldn't do the pole vault. He couldn't I think he could not make 14 feet. It was the bear. No, he asked to skip a certain height and he overstepped and he couldn't pass and he was out because he could not do the pole vault. It was crazy. Max said, because it ain't easy to sell people on the potential of these athletes, but the media can make them if they want to. That's a whole nother topic for 1585 show. The media and how through the history of athletics, politics, society in general, the media, we learned this in Com 101. The media runs this. The media gives us things to think about, things to be upset about, things to hate, things to support. It's the media, man. They select who they want to make the darling. They select who they want to be the villain. So let's not get it twisted. NIL deals for track and field. They have them for college athletes, but as far as the professionals are concerned, it's sponsorship. From your snowboarders to your sprinter, does it make sense to pay someone money to promote your product if no one knows who that person is? So we'll see a lot of Olympic athletes in commercials in small spots. And then they're going to do the focus groups and see who's the actual draw, who's actually helping us sell a product. It's a little bit different for the pros. MacMan says they do have NIL deals for track athletes in college. My godson has a few NIL deals at USC. Bingo. Cool McCain, my good brother. What's up, my guy? Philadelphia Eagles loading up for a championship. I'm going to put $20 on the Eagles to win the whole thing. I'm not sure how much that's going to pay out because we are loaded, man. It's looking good for the Eagles, man. So, again, a thing moved out. She appealed. No luck there. So now we shift our attention to the other events. Not that those who qualified aren't going to do it, but maybe Mac and I will go over it a little bit more in detail, who has made the team so far and their chances of bringing home a gold. Meanwhile, I'm going to skip over Reggie and jump right into my sports flicks because it's Olympic related. The 30 for 30 Butch Reynolds documentary, False Positive. Very interesting doc. Butch was accused of using the juice. And if you don't know who Butch Reynolds is, Google him, YouTube him. Butch Reynolds was one of the fastest 400-meter runners of our time. And small amounts of a certain steroid were found, and these tests got mixed up, and he appealed. He claimed to have never used an anabolic steroid. He didn't even look like he was on anything. He didn't have the same physique as Ben Johnson, who was ripped up, or Michael Johnson, who was ripped up, or, God rest her soul, Flo Jo, who was ripped up, and everybody else from Maurice Green to Dennis Mitchell, all these guys who got caught once or twice. Some of these athletes are being used as examples, going back to the media once again. I love track and field, and what I'm about to say is probably going to be controversial, but I don't believe any human being can run under 10 seconds back-to-back weeks. Like, it's almost impossible for the human body to have that type of output every single time they go out without some type of supplement, some type of extra help. Now, it may not be anabolic steroids. There are supplements who could give you the same kind of, benefit. But it'd be naive to think that everyone is natural who does not get tested positive for a steroid. I love Usain Bolt. He had a great run and never was caught doing anything. They say the Jamaicans have a special yam that they have, all their athletes. But then you find one that they'll, allow to be tested, and they get tested and they're positive, and their career is pretty much cooked. But then you have your face of the sport never even close. And then we have Justin Gatlin and Tyson Gay and all of our athletes trying to keep up with the Joneses, and then all of a sudden that one athlete, I love Sha'Carri, but look how swole she got all of a sudden. And when she lost to the Jamaicans that one time when she came back, she was like, never again. And now she's at the top of her game, stumbling out the blocks and still running a 10.8. This incredible stuff happening. And I want to say it's all natural, but that would be irresponsible and naive to believe that supplements don't play a part, because it's almost, I can't imagine running at top speed that frequently back to back. Your muscles, man, you're asking a whole lot to do that. World records back to back. It's crazy, man. Cool said $20. That's my big my guy. That's huge for me. I go $2. I usually bet $2, but I'm going 20 big ones on the Eagles to win the whole thing. So yeah, false positive, the Butch Reynolds story. I believe you can catch it on Netflix. 30 for 30, always on ESPN Plus. Very, very good documentary, and it sheds light on how track athletes are assumed. And I wanna believe everyone's natural, but I don't think it's possible, man. I played football at a high level, and I know a lot of guys that were juicing, and we never really had that conversation, a flat out guys admitting to it. But the telltale signs, man. You see guys get braces late, their jaws are widening out. You see a athlete like a Sidney McLaughlin who runs the 400 and not tired at the end and breaks a record, and they're not tired, and they have that surprised look like, oh my God, what did I just do? Look on their face. And you like, part of me is questioning. Part of me is cheering and happy. The other side of me is kind of like, I'm praying that everybody's clean. And then that same side understands it's probably not. It's for the growth of the sport. They turn a blind eye and try not to bring anything up. We need these athletes to run this fast for our records to continue to be broken. These young ladies have run 10.6. They have not gotten close to FloJo's 10.4. I believe in the next couple years, we'll see someone, if not get very close to FloJo, they just might pass her time, because the technology, the technique, and the supplements have gotten better. And anything's possible at this point. So, sorry if I'm bursting a bubble, but the human body is only capable of doing so much. I'm even leaning towards the fountain of youth. How are guys getting better with age? We're talking about basketball, football, boxing, mixed martial arts. How do you get the body to respond in the manner that I have some testosterone right here. It's not steroids, it's a supreme testosterone booster. I'm 50, so I'm trying to keep some energy, some bounce in my step, but it hasn't done anything. And you think about, well, if anybody was desperate and they had to perform, and you knew the cycle of being tested, wouldn't you be tempted to get that edge to stay in the game? I'm the person that says legalize everything and report everything, so we know what we're dealing with. And it's safer when everything's legal, because then doctors can be involved, and guys don't have to go to Mexico and get their steroids, or go to Germany and get their blood spun. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Reggie Jackson was in the news. He was being interviewed by A-Rod, and they were trying to celebrate the Negro Leagues incorporation, addition to Major League records, and all that good jazz. But Reggie, his answer to A-Rod's question, does this place bring back memories? And Reggie Jackson, very corporate friendly, very Republican, says he discussed his 1967 season with the Kansas City A's, AA affiliate, Birmingham A's of the Southern League in the Negro Leagues. Jackson played at Rick Wood Field for the A's as Birmingham was experiencing racial turmoil. Jackson says, coming back here is not easy. The racism that I faced here when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and say, that N-word can't eat here. I would walk into a hotel and they would say that N-word with a hard R can't stay here. Even good, clean, wholesome Reggie Jackson experienced some history of America with 3 Ks. And people are uncomfortable about it. But you can't erase history. That's what it is. Now we're in 2024. And the El Trumpos want Trumpo back in office for the financial benefits of his previous tenure. Where I am scarred for being called the N-word twice during his tenure. I had not been called the N-word since middle school. But during that tenure, I was called the N-word twice. At one of his corner rallies and by a police officer in CO Beach. So I feel what Reggie's talking about. And America still has a lot of work to do with racial relations, racism, discrimination, prejudice. A lot of those ideologies are still around. So I wasn't very surprised by it. I think the broadcast was surprised by it because good old fashioned Reggie Jackson brought some truth to the matter and kind of changed that whole segment in about a manner of a 2-minute segment. He kind of changed the whole narrative. What about 2 categories, natural and juiced up? Well, talking about categories, same thing can be done for the transgender athlete. Juiced, natural, and trans. Talk about your Paralympics. You have a bunch of different heats and asterisks. The juiced up heat will be fast, boy. I mean, shoot. It'd be just like the fitness competition. Here you now have the open competition where anything goes. And then the natural competition where everyone's a little bit smaller, but less veins and less roid rage. TJ, it's real talk, man. And it's something you can't sweep underneath the carpet. It's there. I try to tell my buddy Rubio, I can't live in Idaho. It's not for me. He said, man, Dave, you be fine. I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine until my son is out late at night and anything happens and they looking for the description of a tall black man with dimples wearing a Kango, gold chains, and sneakers. Alias LL Cool J. He's bad. I'm not having it, man. I'm not having it. Reggie was naming names. I loved it. Hey, man. It's best that we talk about things so they don't get repeated. If you have hatred towards people of a different race, check yourself, man. God's people, no matter what color you are, we're all human beings. No room for racism today. None. Queen said they were not ready. No, they weren't ready. That whole production truck was going crazy. That whole production truck was like, oh snap. What did we open up? They didn't know what to do with that answer. They sure didn't, man. Cool said trans and juiced can go together. You figure a trans woman running with the juiced men? No, the trans woman may be running with the women. It's the juiced women. I think that would be an even race. Juiced woman versus trans woman. I think that would be a good race. I think that the juiced woman would smash. Because good chance that the trans woman who used to be a man wasn't the greatest, unless he was Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, who was actually the best male athlete ever for a long time. Reggie experienced that, but you know how I feel about Mr. October. We know Reggie is not a saint. He dissed the Queen in person many moons ago. So we say forget Reggie Jackson, but we do appreciate his candid honesty. We love honesty on here on the AC Sports Show, AC Sports Live Show. We love honesty on the Rubio Method. We love honesty on the Decade Show. We love honesty on the 1585 Show. We love honesty on the Collective Podcast. We love honesty, man. On the Time Is Now podcast. All my good buddies on our podcast is straight honesty and truth. It lines up to what I stand for. Truth. What's the truth? But what Reggie did to the Queen, off with his head. You would love it here when you come visit me. Yeah, because you'll be my Italian boss, my Italian voucher. Aren't you Italian, Rubio? Are you Italian or are you Latino? Rubio, that sounds Italian, but also could be Latino. I don't know. But you're darker than me. So how you navigate through Idaho is because you're the best long snapper coach in America. That's why. They know who you are. And that's what the police need to get back to, is knowing who they are policing. Back in the day, our police officers knew our names on the block. And they looked out for us. They told us to go home. They told us to get out of trouble. They told us to stay out of trouble. Now, Moscow, Idaho at that. No, bruh. My son was getting recruited by Idaho. I was like, I don't know about that, man. Nebraska or Kentucky. Whew. I don't know, man. It's like no brother looks natural in those spots. You have trans women with juice women. Trans women with juice women. That'd be a good race. I'm not sure how many good looking women would be in that race, but back in the day, Reggie set his house on fire and burned up his car collection. Wow. Back in the day, his house caught on fire and it burned up his car collection. Was that a hate crime? Shoot. Big TJ played at Washington State. We know Pullman. We went cow tipping after bed check. Oh man. Unfortunate news, man. My mental reps living up to the pressure of being a megastar's son. If you haven't heard, Roy Jones Jr.'s son, unfortunately committed suicide Saturday. And he wrote this: unfortunately, my son DeAndre took his own life Saturday. I'm so thankful that God allowed me to come home Friday night to spend the last night of his life with me and the family. I know a lot of people are going through tough times right now, but nothing is worth taking your own life. God gives it, and God should be the one to take it away. Please respect our privacy while my family and I process this loss. Thank you for your love and support, Roy Jones Jr. What we were doing with our podcast, man, and we left the network we were with previously, but the idea and principles that we were pushing to prevent suicide, to promote positivity, to negate men's mental health. I'm with that until Yeshua returns. And I'm for not just men, women, alternative lifestyle people, young people, kids. Everybody's going through something. I don't know why Roy Jones Jr.'s son took his own life, but I know it was not the answer to his problems. It was the easy, selfish reaction to whatever he was going through. And I don't know. We don't know. And it sounds like Roy does not know. He's saying he spent his last day with him. So he might have been going through something the entire time. But my mental rep, I imagine being the son of a mega star like Roy Jones Jr. could take its toll. I feel for those kids who are the sons or daughters of a mega star and living up to an expectation. That's kind of why I did not name my son my name. I gave him his own name. And I did not push, you have to be a football player, because I did not want that pressure on him. It was something that was organic. And he came to me and asked me if it would be wise to play football. And at that point, you know, it worked out. Before some kids who are born into an obvious, you have to be this. If you're the son of Roy Jones Jr. and you don't box, you have to live a life of you know, what happened to you. I believe Sugar Ray Leonard's son tried to box. And Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Sugar Shane's son is boxing. And, Joe Frazier's son got destroyed by Mike Tyson, Marvis Frazier. And you kind of bring the family a little, you know, shame. Again, I'm just speculating that played a role in the expectations of a child, of a megastar. But living up to the pressure of peer pressure, society, the media, family pressure, your friends who might say, hey, why aren't you? Be comfortable with who you are. Be comfortable in your own gifts. Everybody is not meant to be Roy Jones Jr. Everybody's not meant to be Michael Jordan. And some guys who have, you know, an ultra dominant male ego, they have daughters. And those daughters balance out the super macho guys who know if they had a son, it would be impossible for that son to live up to their pops. In this case right here, my prayers go up to the family for strength, for somehow to see some type of light at the end of the tunnel in this very tough time that they're going to be going through. It's unfathomable what they're going through. I believe Mike Tyson lost a daughter. I think Tony Dungy's son committed suicide. It's too prevalent. It's too okay. Like, it's accepted. And I want that to be echoed that it's not. So I know we are pushing to reestablish a network of podcasts that preach against these types of you know, ideologies in our society. Right now, our group is called The Mission, and we're trying to make sure that message does not go by the wayside. So once again, as Roy Jones Jr. is still one of my favorite fighters of all time, I feel for him, and I don't know how he's taking it. His statement was very positive and uplifting, but inside, as a person who has always had to cover up his emotions because his father was so tough on him, God knows what he's going through. So prayers out to the Jones family, and condolences most definitely. Going to the comments. Going back, Rubio said the Queen got big time by Reggie. Yeah, that's the story. And I know all about being big time. AC got big time by countless people. His AC simply bad luck. Hey man, being big time is part of the business, brother. It's part of the business. Queen said insurance. Not many cute ones. No, brother, it won't be. It won't be very many bombshells. No, there's some cute women on steroids, but I don't think the transgender ones are going to be anything to look at. Elaine said she could not watch that. We have to share the word gospel to provide hope. Amen. Amen. I thought about Tony Dungy's son. Yeah, man. The expectation to live up to success. Let your children fail and be okay with it. They'll find their way. Sad story. Roman Reigns' father passed away as well. Sika of the Wild Samoans. Ah, man, that's tough. And Roman Reigns going through his health situation, trying to, battle the cancer he had. And you can see it in his face. Everything is just kind of like, different. So everybody's going through something, man. We got to be prayed up. We got to be connected to the Father, man. That's my solution. It's tough out there. I was a kid. Shame on Reggie Jackson. Just a princess. Now you're the queen. So if you meet Reggie, you got something to tell him. Look here, Reggie. I'm retired. I got something for you. All right, man. We'll be right back after this message, and we'll finish off with something a little bit light. No chonies on the next segment on the AC Sports Live Show.
Dominate every matchup, period. This should be the mindset of every competitor in both team and individual sports and in life. Each day we wake up, regardless of the task, regardless of what we're facing, we gotta decide whether we're gonna dominate or be dominated, period. There is no in between. We believe whoever wears our gear embodies that DEM mindset. Dominate every matchup, period. The question is, which side will you be on?
Can Nation Boxing Gym in Santa Fe Springs, California offers training for pros, amateurs, and weekend warriors. Ran by current WBC boxer Brandon Cannon Adams and pro trainer, the People's Coach, Coach Cam Manalo. They offer adult and kids training and classes for all ages. Cannon Nation Boxing is in the corner for anyone who wants to learn the sweet science of boxing as a career or personal goals. Go to cannonnationboxing.com for more info.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, the director of All In CDL Training. Here in All In CDL Training, our main goal is for you to obtain your Class A driver's license. We offer online courses as well as in-person courses here in our location in Long Beach. If you require more information, please visit us at www.allincdltraining.com.
All right, we're back. Going to the comments. I get it. It's hard for a kid of a famous athlete to get to that level. But do you think Magic Johnson's one son took it to the way other side to combat that pressure? I mean, shoot. Magic Johnson's son, Dwayne Wade's son, daughter. I really can't call it with the ones who go extreme like that direction. They could be crying out for attention. They could be crying out for whatever. But Magic was not present to kind of curtail that, to stop that from occurring. And of course, the alphabet community will be more in an outrage by me saying, he could have stopped it. But I believe that it's the father's job. Even if you have an effeminate son, that's fine. He can be artistic. He can be a kid who loves the arts or whatever it is. But at that young age, they don't know. Their minds are not developed yet. And you have to give a kid a chance to develop. I remember the tomboys that we used to like when we were young, and they were just as tough and mean as us, But then they turn 13 and 14, and before you know it, they're, loving basketball. Is a good example. When the tomboy, you can see underneath that tough exterior, that's a beautiful woman underneath that. It doesn't happen because today's society is going to push her the other way. Now with E.J. Johnson, of course, I mean, sheesh, he's 6'7", biggest hands, biggest feet you're ever gonna see, big old head, but he wants to be a woman. And Magic Johnson loves him as he should. That's his son. He and Cookie are supporting him. I believe his pronoun is still him. I'm not sure if he made that serious change, but to combat the peer pressure of being Magic Johnson's son, is that what that is? It's probably part of it, but he wanted to be seen, and he's being seen, and he's not being, not totally accepted. I see Dwayne Wade trying his best to accept his son who is transitioning into be a woman. That's Gabrielle Union who forced that issue. So, I'm not here to judge it. I'm actually calling it like we call it. You call it what you see. I don't think it's wrong to call out what you see if it's the truth. It's probably some truth that he's trying to combat the pressure of being Magic Johnson's son, the best point guard to ever play the game. What are you doing with your life? I'm not doing that. And that's kind of what it comes down to. And he's comfortable doing it. I mean, he makes a very big deal about showing that he is not an athlete. I'm nothing like my dad. I am me, accept me how I am. So that's tough. His son, daughter, Elaine. We know that's a little boy, but they let him be a girl. So now he's going to transition into be a woman. But he'll, miss that window of exploration. Being the quiet little, docile, effeminate boy, they full on threw him into being a young girl before he even had a chance to like a girl. Hey, you got to live with your decisions. You got to live with what you have accepted. You got to live what you have allowed. So, hey, man, Godspeed to him. Good luck to him. Now, this morning, man, this is light. Let's just get light. This is a light topic. Locker room stories. Episode 31. All right, man. Today, I went to the gym. I got about 5 minutes. I went to the gym today, and I put my clothes out that I was going to put on after I swam my laps. And one of the items was my underwear. I sent a picture to Rubio, Brian Jodis, I think our main man Guy from Tripping Through Transformations on that line, and I hope to God it wasn't her name is Chastity was on that line, because if it was an inappropriate conversation and she shouldn't have heard it, because we were talking about the inappropriateness of the locker room. So my picture had a picture of the hat I have on now. It's to pick up the six. Shout out to Brian Jodis, the voice of God. I had on my shirt I'm wearing now, Faith Over Fear. It's a scripture in the Bible, Psalms or Tehillim 118:6. He has not given us a spirit of fear. Okay. But in the corner of my shot, you can see my underwear. My dark blue Hanes briefs, Michael Jordan underwear. Rubio responds, no chonies. Please, no chonies. And I was like, well, they're clean. Nothing wrong with clean undies, draws, chonies, breeches. Could be worse. Rewind, 1994. Our good buddy Wayne Cook, Rob Walker, Ryan Fiend, Scott Fitterer. Whose jeans are these? Let me borrow these jeans. I don't have any pants. Puts on the jeans, no breeches, no underwear, no undies, no chonies, no draws. Free balling, y'all. My first ever experience seeing free balling. And it was at that moment in time I realized that brothers and white dudes were different. I kind of knew we were different because they don't use washcloths when they get clean in the shower. Only the bros had washcloths and faloofa scrubbers. My good buddies on the other side of the locker room free balled and didn't use a washcloth to get clean. Then I see some of my good buddies wrestling naked. And it's just unwritten rules, man, that need to be implemented. Conversation included you, me, Jodis, Charles, Wallace, and Sub 60 Ed. Perfect. No chastity. All right. She still don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, but this was not for her ears, even though we're broadcasting it now. Chonies in the picture started this barn fire, this snowball, and here we are. Hopefully those jeans were button fly and not a zipper. They were button fly 501s, thank God, or we would have had a something about Mary situation. But the fact that ball juice was being swapped, I couldn't even imagine, because they washed our jock straps together with those net bags with the rubber tie around, and we would get our stuff back and it would smell worse than it smelled after we sweat. It smelled like shoulder pad straps dipped in pickle juice. And we were like, did you guys wash these at all? Like, this smells worse than my funk. This smells like a science project. And to think guys were going out on dates with borrowed jeans and no underwear. Unreal, man. The stuff we experienced. Guys taking showers without no sandals on. And one time I either lost my sandals or someone stole my sandals, so I went and I took a shower without sandals. And I got the worst case of athlete's foot in the history of athlete's foot. My whole foot was like green and pink, and it was just throbbing with this and oozing with pus. It was just the worst, man. And I was getting all the medicated. It was just bad, man. It was just bad all over my whole foot. I had to keep socks on to not smell it was more of a pickles, Frito chips, what else has a little twang to it? I was just embarrassed by it, man. And I finally found the right medication combination to get it to go away. It was the worst, man. So locker room stories, man. From the 3 pats on the back, skin to skin. Rubio let me know what that meant after 30 years. Now I know why we were doing 3 pats on the back really hard with a cup hand. Pop, pop, pop. And he said, get you some. Get you some. Pop, pop, pop. That's all love, man. And if this is cringy, it should be cringy. Mike Moody, you know exactly what I'm talking about, man. Mike played at Idaho for the Vandals. And you know the cultural differences between the bros and the white guys was cultural shock. Ball juice, first ever AC cringe moment. Given, I roared with laughter. No, you welcome you want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Oh man. All right, my time is up. I believe the ride with Chevy and Nasty on YouTube, Facebook, the X is on right now. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with your boy. As I go out, what did I want to see? It was something that was funny that made me laugh. Grandpa don't care. As I go, Grandpa, don't care. I will see y'all Thursday. No, I won't. Thursday is my 26th year anniversary. My wife and I's 26th year of marriage, and we're going to go out and have a good time. So we won't have 1585 this week. I'm going to be on a hot date, and I think Mac will understand. So I'll see y'all next time on the AC Sports Live Show. I appreciate all y'all for hanging out with your boy. Until next time, peace and love, blessings, out. And if my main man Mitchell is watching, shout out to my man Mitchell. Shout out to my man Cole. CDL training students. Told y'all to check out the show tonight. There's your shout out. Next time, comment. Say something. I know you in the building, man. All right, man. Later.